Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition of the Royal Blue podcast. I'm your host, Chris Beesley. As you can see, I'm joined by Gavin Buckland. Not together today. We're not in the studio. We're having to do a remote one because Ian Kroll has overlooked his podcasting duties this week for a stag do in Benidorm of all places. So we hope Ian's all right there on that one, enjoying himself over there in Spain. And said Gavin and I are having to sift through the rubble of the Carabao Cup disappointment at Molineux. How are you otherwise, Gav?
All right. Well, speaking of holidays, I've just come back from a week in Greece, as you know, where our record was, well, it was played 2, lost 2. So I'm hoping coming back will increase our chances of winning.
Yeah. So yeah, we can't pin these defeats on you, Gav. Then.
No. Actually, no. But last few holidays, I don't think we've won. So I'll have to rethink my strategy. I think going forward.
Oh, yeah, you have to. We have to make you that. You have to have all the games, I guess, going forward. But yeah, I think what happened at Molineux was something of a Greek tragedy, wasn't it, Gav? I mean, was it self-inflicted? 7 changes, is that too many?
Well, Wolves made 9, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I think it was. I get why people say maybe there was too many changes. The fact that we changed the entire 3 behind the striker. That unsettles the team, I think, and unsettles the striker. Perhaps in retrospect, may have, kept one of I probably would have kept NJ on, and perhaps you could have put Dewsbury Hall back in the midfield, to partner Garner. But you've got to remember, I think 7 of the 10 outfield players who started on Wednesday had finished the derby, Chris.
Mm.
So they were on the pitch then. So there was players that, and we got beaten, we won a trophy and all that. But we were saying with players that weren't good enough on the pitch to be on the pitch on Wednesday. Some of them we were dying for them to be on the pitch in the previous 2 games against Aston Villa and Liverpool. So what do you want? I mean, this thought about playing strongest team. Nobody plays their strongest team in cup competitions, basically at any stage. And in the squad game, you've got to give people minutes. I think in that respect, Moyes, he probably made maybe 1 or 2 changes. I didn't really get the Coleman at left back thing, to be honest with you. I think there's always a debate about whether you should drop your first choice goalkeeper as well.
Mm-hmm.
I get that, but sometimes you bring a second choice keeper to the club on the basis that he'll get minutes. So yeah, maybe too many changes, perhaps, but ultimately you're let down by the players, aren't you?
Yeah.
As a manager, as I say, that was not an unfamiliar lineup with people we've not heard of. I mean, Barry was always going to start anyway.
Yeah.
And if Dibbling's a developmental player, when are you going to develop him?
Yeah.
So I'm backing Moyes to a degree there, but I still think he probably tinkered around with it too much, and I think he was badly let down by the players on the pitch. And let's face it, when we had close to first choice team on the pitch at the end, last 20-30 minutes, we didn't do much either, did we?
Quite, but you say those 9 changes that Wolves made. I mean, to be fair to them, they'd lost all 5 of their Premier League games. Staying in the top flight is a priority for them this season. A lot of Evertonians, I think Everton players ahead of this game, and have also said to me afterwards as well, they genuinely felt they could go deep in this competition. They're aware of the fact that Everton haven't won a trophy for a record amount of time now, over 30 years. I mean, history does tell you that if you're going to make 7 changes, I think we've seen this with Everton, it's not going to end well. Sorry, I think their record against Premier League teams in the competition when they've done that showed you. I think they'd only ever beaten Norwich on penalties when they've done that. So
I know, I get that as well. But we made no changes against and played the first team in cup matches and got beat, haven't we?
Yeah.
Played Bournemouth.
There's the infamous one, wasn't it? Liverpool in the FA Cup when their second.
Played Bournemouth at Goodison in January or February was with the full team. Got beat at Crystal Palace under Frank with the full team. It's
why do they should give Everton in cup games then? Yeah.
Well, exactly, isn't it? Really. I'd be it. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see how many changes the opposition made in those games that we made loads of changes in. That's the stat you want to see, isn't it?
Yeah,
No, I'm not defending Moyes here. I'm
No.
not defending Moyes here. I think, as I say, I think he probably made a few more changes, and there was a couple of things that I didn't think were warranted.
Yeah.
I think it would have definitely kept one player behind the three, of probably maybe Grealish even, or maybe given NJ, a game out wide. But he was let down by the players. I think there's one or two there that may not see much time in an Everton shirt going forward. I'm thinking of McNeil there.
Yeah.
He looks like he's on the outside looking in, doesn't he?
There did seem to be a significant drop-off because, like we said, there's supposedly strength in numbers now in those attacking midfield areas. They've got 6 genuine options, but it did seem a big difference, isn't it? Like you said, between those first-choice ones who have been there now and that shadow squad, as it were, because Dwight McNeil is the best part of 3 years, so at least 2.5 before the injury, as like a regular member of the first 11, but you can't imagine he's going to get another Premier League start anytime soon, and after that display.
No, and I think he's Dyche's man, isn't he, McNeil? I think Dyche would have given him his debut. I think he would have had a few months under Frank at the start of his Everton career, but he's largely played most of his career under Dyche, hasn't he, McNeil? Yes. And I think that's a big factor in his development in general attitude, and maybe he doesn't work hard enough for Moyes. But there's a reason we bought him for £12 million in the summer that he was very good for us at the end of last season. Yeah. And Newcastle, he was man of the match, played brilliantly. And so people, this is the thing is, you've picked a second choice team, but say Alcaraz, well, hang on a minute, people were desperate to sign him 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Easy business, we said. Business, we said. Yeah. Turns up at Molineux, doesn't play, and people say, man, second string's not good enough. Well, hang on a minute, As I say, I'm not defending Moyes here, but we reframe things, don't we, as fans, to meet certain beliefs. And yes, he was Moyes, I think made a couple of changes too many, but he was ultimately let down by the players who didn't perform. And some of that was down to the way he set up the team. I say, having 3 behind the striker who've not played in that configuration before, possibly. But so it was disappointing, wasn't it, really? But what was our chances to win the Carabao Cup at the start of the season?
To be fair, I think they were significantly greater in terms of the teams who've gone out, to be fair.
Yeah.
I know at the start of the season, you'd be seen as outsiders, but I think that was part of the disappointment that they'd seen other teams fall by the wayside, and the competition had opened up. And it's one of those.
There's still most of the big clubs are in there, but I think going back, what your point is, I think, Chris, and I think you're right, is just staying in the cup keeps interest, doesn't it? It was a bit like a couple of years ago we got to the quarterfinals when we got beat by Fulham. There's always something to look forward to, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you lose a league game, you're thinking now, we got a Premier League, we got a Carabao Cup game at the end of the month. Win that, at the end of October, we could be in the quarterfinals, could get an easy draw, and before you know it, you've got something to look forward to in the new year. So it's not necessarily winning the trophy. That's the thing here. It's just staying alive in the competition, just generates interest, gives opportunities to give game time to players who maybe wouldn't get game time in the Premier League. So in that way, it was a bad defeat, I think, in terms of our Premier League aspirations, because it gives us less of an opportunity to give players who may rely on in the future minutes. And Moyes did contribute to that, I think, with his selection. But I'm not, I certainly don't believe in that statement. This is all on Moyes. That's I don't believe that for one moment.
Yeah, like you say, in terms of players letting themselves down.
Absolutely.
A few of them there are a bit lackluster. What did you think in terms of, obviously, it was a huge potential going forward, but Tyler Diblin, it was his first start for Everton. He looked like there's a few nice touches, but he still looks like you said, you've used that phrase, developmental. He's still got a lot to learn for all his obvious talents.
Yeah. We didn't really. Obviously, I watched it on all of these, so there's been these sort of it's not the same as going the game, is it? He did okay. I mean, he's obviously a very, very promising player. That's why we paid the fee. And I wouldn't necessarily judge him on his performance on Wednesday, or Tuesday, sorry. But I think, where's he going to get minutes? What did we pay? 35 million quid or something. Yeah. Where's he going to get minutes this season? And that's the concern. I mean, I think, don't want to talk about the derby because we're there, but I thought Moyes should have brought both Diblin and Alcaraz on far earlier than what he did on Saturday. Was it 4 minutes from time or something?
Yeah, it was very late.
I would have brought both on 70. But yeah, so we've got to give Diblin minutes, haven't we, to form a judgment. And there's obviously a talent there. It's just the best how we develop it, isn't it, really?
Yeah. And at the other end of the spectrum, you've mentioned it already. I mean, Seamus Coleman's arguably the best right back for Everton in the Premier League era, but he's not a left back, and he wasn't a left back when he had his baptism of fire at Benfica in 2009. He's not a left back in 25 either.
Yeah, sort of. There's confusing views, isn't there, about whether he was at fault for the first goal.
He misjudged it, didn't he, in terms of where it was going to land.
Yeah, it's just that we've got Coleman, who's a right back at mid-30s, playing left back, and you've got two left backs on the bench, haven't you?
I mean, it makes you wonder about where Adam Asnou is in his
yeah, and that's one of the areas I think Moyes. I think that's one. Yeah, as I say, there's probably two main areas I think Moyes didn't do correctly on Tuesday. One was the left back, and I think he should have played one of his regular three behind the striker. So that there's a couple there, isn't it? And I thought that was slightly baffling, really. Whether there's a doubt over Mikalenko's fitness, but you bought Asnou was 9 million, was he, something like that, Chris?
Yeah.
That was a game to give him if he's fit. It's a game to give him minutes, really.
Interesting one in terms of with obviously all those years ago, Leighton Baines ended up being an amazing left back for Everton, but he had to wait a while. Didn't he? I mean, he was a lot older than Asnou is. To be fair, Asnou's still only a teenage, I think, isn't he? And in terms of his development, obviously he was a record signing for a defender, wasn't he, at the time at Everton, coming in from Wigan Athletic. But obviously similar to what Jake O'Brien's doing on the other side now. Joleon Lescott played left back for a while until Baines sort of got his opportunity, but Moyes does seem quite reticent. I mean, Asnou had that game against Roma pre-season when he had to come on early for Mikalenko when he got injured, and I think that was a tough outing for him. And ever since then, it's almost like he's seen a bit hesitant in using him. And as we've seen by Jimmy Garner having to fill in at left back several times already.
Yeah. The left back has been possibly an area of the pitch where we've had more problems than what we were anticipating. Ironically, we thought the right back position might be an issue for this season, but we carried on playing O'Brien there, and because he, especially in Tarkowski, being reasonably robust in the middle, the sense of the defence on the right hand side has been pretty much the same all season, hasn't it? Something like that.
Yeah.
The real problem we've had is at left back, hasn't it? Really, where we've had Coleman, Mikalenko, Garner playing.
In and out, yeah.
So we played 3 different left backs, and we played 7 matches this season.
Yeah.
That's been and the problem with that is we've ended up weakening the midfield to play Garner there in 3 or 4 matches. So I presume there was a doubt over Mikalenko's fitness. So he still got on the pitch, though, didn't he? So it was very difficult.
Glory either for that second goal, to be fair.
No. So he's been okay. Mikalenko was all right on Saturday, but he's probably not fully fit to give Moyes a little bit of backing for his choice. But the Asnou thing is probably a little bit more puzzling.
Yeah, I mean, it's ironic, really, isn't it? Mikalenko's kind of just about got by for a couple of seasons. I know, obviously, you had Ashley Young who could fill in there last season and the year before. But, Everton do bring in a recognised understudy at left back, and then he's not being used.
Yeah, well, based on Wednesday, there's a case there to say that he's the 4th choice left back at the moment, isn't there?
Well, quite, yeah. I had the 2 square pegs and round holes, and
you know,
so
based on Tuesday's 11. He might not be fit as well. I know he's had. I think he's had a couple of injuries, hasn't he? But yeah, I think that does open the question, doesn't it, of the purchase during the summer? Because he should be knocking on the door, really, saying my 4 choice left back.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about ones for the future. We've talked about Tyler Dibblin. We've talked about Adam Asnu. I mean, Tierno Barry seems to be, it's like a job share arrangement with Beto at the moment. They got a half each in the Derby. They got a half each and Molineux. I mean, I suppose it's tough for him. Like we say, he's not got those creative forces behind him. Again, it's the second string. But if anything epitomised his frustration on Tuesday, if it was that needless booking when he booted the ball into the Hordens after a decision didn't go his way. I mean, what was your assessment of Barry and where he's at?
Well, I think you answered that, didn't you? You know, that the creative three behind him weren't certainly firing on all cylinders, so he was isolated. He's a different player to Beto. I was just thinking, Chris, there can't be many clubs this season who, in one game, take one centre forward off and replace him with another, and in the next game do the complete opposite.
Yeah,
and you know, that's going to. I can't really recall ever that happened at Everton, to be fair. And that, there's you know, Chris, you've listened to me on the pod over the last 6 weeks on this.
Yeah.
I just think we made a major boo-boo not addressing the centre forward issue during the summer in terms of our wider transfer strategy, where we bought what 4 players behind the striker, if you count Grealish as a purchase.
Yeah.
We've ended up with less centre forwards than what we had last season.
Mm-hmm.
Which is all, if you got 2, it's all very well if they're Premier League proven and you can trust them. But we've got, you know, there's, in a perfect world, I think Beto and Barry are probably fighting over the number 2 striker, aren't they?
Yeah, they're
not the number 1 striker.
Yeah,
and I think that's been an omission. I would imagine that in the January transfer window, they might try and rectify that, because though feels as we started the Premier League season, after this weekend, we played the 6th of it, haven't we?
Okay.
But they played 6 out of 38 games, which is nearly a 6th. But certainly if you think about it, by the time we go into the international break?
After Palace, yeah.
We would have played 7 Premier League games by then. That's nearly 20% of the season. So we're not near the start of the season, are we? During that time, unless there's a major change, there's an issue over our striker that needs rectifying, and it may be, maybe something that they'll look at in January. I do get within this that we're not going to rectify all our problems within one January transfer window. Sorry, one transfer window. But at the same time, there was a bit of an imbalance in our purchases. But there might be a wider plan here that we're not aware of.
Yeah, I mean, you've spoken about. You said before, haven't you, Everton probably spent about as much as they were able to over the summer.
Yeah.
So is it an issue that if you look at, you think 27 million on Barry's a lot in Everton terms? I think this is a point Joe Thomas made. But if you look in the general sort of markers that what other Premier League teams are paying for their strikers, I mean, maybe the money just wasn't there, or the player wasn't there who Everton would be able to entice to the club.
Yeah, I know. So I made that point the other week, that when you look at the finances, the extra money that we get from Bramley Moore will be used to pay the stadium off, and also to pay the increased cost of the squad based on our purchases in the summer. So it will, but then we may want to move 1 or 2 players out in January if possible. And also this year we got the impact of the sale of the women's team and all this. So there may be a little bit more than what we think. But that in January, what would be your priority position to rectify?
I'd probably
you blow your cheeks out there in the country.
That's because there's a few, to be honest. You haven't got to narrow it down. Yeah. I think the fact that they were after Kenny Tete, that they were in the market for a specialist right back. So I'm still think that they're light on that side of the field. And then, as we've already been through, left back and right winger also question marks. So you're probably looking if you throw centre forward into that, you're talking about 4. So I'd still wonder whether it's almost like at right back, same as last season. They've got the numbers, but have they got what they actually need in that position? So I guess in January you're reacting to what becomes available, aren't you? You could say strikers a priority. You could say right back's a priority, but it's who's actually available in that window. But I think the fact that we know that they were after a right back in the summer makes me wonder, are they still a bit light on that side?
Yeah.
I know you've got Seamus and you've got Nathan Patterson, but if Patterson's surplus to requirements, and Seamus at the stage of his career that he's at, this advanced stage, I wonder if they. But it all depends who comes available.
Yeah.
You kind of
No, I
react to
agree.
situations, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, Patterson and Asner are in similar positions at the moment, aren't they?
In terms of
In terms of the pecking order and stuff, I mean, the only thing I'd say maybe where the right back position has changed a little bit is O'Brien's done okay, hasn't he? At right back, Tarkowski and Keane have done okay centre halves. Banthwaite to come back at some point, so it may mean that the more trusting now of the central defence with O'Brien playing right back than perhaps what they were at the start of the season, and that might mean that they might look at the right back situation differently, but at the same time, it still needs looking at. Yeah, and it's all right for me to just get on me high horse. So we need a striker. The machinations of that are difficult, aren't they? You've got to get the right striker. The finances have got to be right. The January transfer window can be very risky. I don't think we get a Yelovich type player that is all of a sudden going to change the season. So yeah, it'd be interesting. But I just think with all of that, we've left ourselves short up top, and it'd be a shame because we've got some really good creative players behind the striker, haven't we? It would be a shame if some of their work goes, is wasted, for want of a better phrase, by not having somebody who can put the ball in the net.
Yeah, well, before you talk yourself out of that one, Gav, I mean, maybe the options in house. It's something else we discussed on the podcast a minute. At what point does maybe Ilham and Dai get a go up there? Something different.
Yeah, but that's definitely an option, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think we said at the start of the season that won't be surprised this during the campaign that it might just be for injury, Chris. That NJ will play as a sort of false nine. As it were, and that would be an interesting proposition. But I just think if you're changing one strike for the other and doing the opposite in the following game, that indicates that there's a problem.
Yeah. To what extent does Barry just need a goal just to get himself up and running?
He would argue he would need that. Well, they've had some service, he might get a goal. Yeah. I mean, on Saturday he did okay in the second half, and Everton did, obviously. I thought we did play really well in the second half, and indeed the last 30 did the first half. But we weren't exactly giving them opportunities, were we?
No.
Not
the door where as much as they were a lot better, it's not like they were throwing the kitchen sink at them.
Yeah. It reminds me of and my name slips in my mind who was the Chelsea player striker we had on loan last year? The Albanian guy.
Oh, bro, yeah.
Yeah. He had a lot of game time last year. He didn't have a shot, did he?
I don't know about the stats behind it.
Or a shot on target at least.
Okay.
And Barry's is in sort of that territory. We've got to get more service to him because I think he's got a few good touches, hasn't he? And I think he was a good touch on Saturday that started the move for the goal, wasn't he? Got the ball quickly out of his feet and quick pass enabled us to break quite quickly. So I think he's definitely got a little bit more about him with his feet than Beto.
We saw that against Brighton, didn't we? First game of the season, he played
So
goal,
there's an argument to say that if you're going to play one, that you play him maybe more than Beto. But either way, I'm not sure. Not sure that either of them are ideal at the moment, and that's really been brought out in our substitute strategy in the last few games.
Yeah. Well, moving on now, obviously, West Ham United, Monday night. David Moyes for former employers as well, so he's going to be keen to rectify what's gone wrong this last week, and it suddenly becomes quite a significant game for Everton.
Yeah, well, the two significant games, aren't they?
Yeah.
Before the international break, both at home. They've got an opportunity there for 6 points. I think I'd probably take 4 at this stage. Would be reasonable. Return. I think we've got there'll be a full team out on Monday. Is this the first Premier League game on the lights? Is it? I think. Is it? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
At the new stadium. Yeah. So yeah, West Ham are struggling hard. They've got well within our gift. There'll be a few players I think trying to prove themselves, and I think it's a game that we have to win. We've got a problem, I think, if we don't, and we go into the Palace game with it. What are they? 17 games unbeaten, Palace or something, aren't they?
Is that what it is now? Yeah.
Yeah. And see the teams we played in those 17 games as well. So they're a dangerous side. But I think Monday's got to be is a must-win game, isn't it? Really.
Okay,
Absolutely.
So I'll take 4 points from the 2-2. That one's a miss.
I would take 4 if you ask me now, because then we've got City, haven't we? The first game after the international break, City away. Yeah, that's going to be tricky. I wonder if Pep will park the bus against Everton at all.
Well, obviously Jack can't play, can he? So
yeah. But that was a good point that somebody made, wasn't it? That Grealish only plays twice in October because of the international break in the Man City game. So.
Another reason not to rest him.
Another reason not to rest him on Wednesday, on Tuesday, and I totally get that as well.
Yeah.
It didn't really work. That when you see what McNeil did, that was if you're going to play one of the 3 behind the striker, Grealish was probably going to be the first one you play then, wouldn't it? Really? Yeah. And so it was. It's got to be must win, hasn't
it? Yeah. Interesting.
On Monday. I think. Sorry, Chris.
No, go on. I was going to say, obviously, Graham Potter, in terms of very much feeling the heat, and it was an interesting one because we were in the very last days of Sean Dyche around, the start of January. He was a name who was very much seemingly in the mix for Everton before Moyes did come back, and it was an interesting part, sort of position in his career, because obviously what he'd done really well at Brighton and Hove Albion, and then, like so many managers, a crash and burned at Chelsea, and he's found it obviously very tough coming back in at West Ham.
Yeah, I mean, just shows you what a good job Moyes did at West Ham, didn't it? Really.
Yeah.
That seeing what's happened to them since, and is he in the last chance saloon on Monday night?
Possibly.
Do you think?
I think the fact that we're hearing that the conversations are already taking place about potential replacements, it's almost like you've got testing the waters.
You've got the international break coming up, haven't you? Which is always an opportunity. So I think, we to still keep the impression that we've had a good start to the season, we've got to win on Monday, haven't we?
Yeah. And a stat man like yourself, I mean, isn't it more wins, is it, over West Ham than any other Premier League opponent?
Yeah, more wins, more points, more goals than any other Premier League club. Yeah. So, let's hope that can continue on Monday. Though, to be fair, Moyes had a good record at Goodson in his last few games there, didn't he? I think he won 3 of his last 4. Yeah.
Do check a goal up there as well.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a little bit of Potter at Chelsea and how that can impact your career about Moyes going to Man United, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's
come back. Yeah, he's taken a while to come back, and I'm just wondering whether possibly the same. The only thing I'd say is Moyes has a lot more experience than Potter probably at top level management, but there is echoes of Moyes' post-Man United career with immediate post-Manchester United career and Potter's post-Chelsea career, isn't it, here? But he's a good man, Potter, and I wouldn't want to see him sacked, but I still wanted to see us get a victory on Monday,
Incredibly, I've seen some West Ham fans claiming they don't even want the Hammers to get a result at Hill Dickinson because they want him gone. So I mean, that's
Yeah.
probably stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. But from what you read, Chris, I think the problems at West Ham go a little bit further than the management dugout, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, bit upstairs in terms of
Yeah,
all the
absolutely.
issues that are going around.
Yeah.
In terms of the team, then you've said, would you retain Barry? Then is that what you're saying up front?
I think so. Yeah, I think Barry. I mean, it's pretty much the same team that we would normally pick, isn't it? But just with Barry up top, the same three behind.
Adrister back in, obviously, alongside.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming Mikalenko's going to be fit.
We might have a better idea of that after obviously David Moyes.
Yeah, but the fact he brought him on Tuesday, indicates that he is. We've got two, the two centre halves have been, certainly Kane's been excellent. And then, O'Brien at right back. The one tactic when you say about, like, I was thinking about this watching the derby on Saturday, which we've not really used as much as what we should have done this season, is the ball to the far post.
Okay.
And have O'Brien jumping against the opposition right back, opposition left back. On Saturday, the goal came that way, didn't it? And then we nearly got in again, didn't he? With Kirkes, I think, just headed it out just before he was about to pounce. And he's got good technique, hasn't he, O'Brien, and on the floor, and he's decent header on the ball. And I don't think we've used that strategy enough. And Jack's shown on Saturday a couple of times, and he can put the ball on a play, can't he, to the far post?
Yeah.
And I think we don't use that tactic enough.
Okay, yeah, I've seen it. We have seen it with O'Brien last season. So yeah.
So I'm looking forward to just something a little bit different, than what we've done. But apart from that, it'd be the same team. You keep the three the same place behind, would you? Wouldn't want to switch.
Yeah, I don't. I know we've been talking about the possibility of Jack going in the middle, or Mike can go on the left, but then you're talking about Dibbling coming in, or Dewsbury Hall going deeper. So I think for now we'll retain those three. I'd certainly think that's one. I think the striker one is his biggest dilemma, really. Which way does he go with one of those? I think otherwise,
seven changes in the team that the fans are welcome.
Yeah, another 7 changes.
One thing I did mention, Chris, about Moyes on Tuesday is where I was surprised is I don't think that he could justify making quite a few of them changes. He's only on a 2-year contract, hasn't he, at Everton? Or 2 years remaining. Yeah. So there's limited opportunities to do well there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, he's thrown away. He has 2 opportunities each season, doesn't he? The 2 domestic.
And in that aspect, I was quite, I'm surprised that he did, did do those changes. As a manager, he could justify them in terms of giving game time to players, but from a purely selfish point of view, in terms of his reputation at Everton, the fact that he's only got a couple of years on his contract, is somebody else may have gone a little bit more, serious about in terms of selecting close to the first team squad. So that was maybe a little bit surprised, but I certainly don't agree with the thing about it's all on Moyes. You've got to look at the players there, though some of it is Moyes'. I think Moyes' responsibility.
I would just wonder privately whether what his thoughts are differently than what he obviously says. Like all managers, they say, they give out a spiel to protect themselves and protect their players in public. But I just it's just because Joe asked him if he thought it was a missed opportunity, and he said it wasn't, because they were playing away against another Premier League side. I just wonder privately, and with the prospect of, he's hugely respected, and rightly so, amongst Evertonians. But like you say, if he was to end the record-breaking trophy drought, he'd be adored. So. I do wonder.
That's where it was the one bit of surprise. Perhaps that with chances running out for him, whether he'd gone a little bit more, with the team that he trusted. But nobody puts a full strength team out.
We're all expecting changes, but the question was 7 too many, and history has proven beforehand. That's case, but as you
I
said,
think I would have said 5.
Yeah,
I would have said 5. Yeah, but on Tuesday.
Numbers,
but,
talking numbers. Finish then. What you're going for Monday night? What's your prediction?
2-0. I'm just praying for the regulation 2-0 win.
Yeah,
it would be good if Barry plays and scores.
Yeah,
it could be. I mean, it's a bit. I mean, I think I'm not comparing them to Jelavic, is a far more experienced and clinical striker, but Jelavic took a few times. He needs a few games to score his first goal.
I'm not sure.
And then he couldn't stop scoring. I'm not saying Barry's going to do the same. Yeah, but I think especially young player comes to new country, football may look completely different to him if he gets a goal.
Of course, yeah.
And that's why I'd probably play him. Plus, I think he's a bit better. He's better outside the area than Beto, and I think that would be that would be cool if that happens on Monday night.
Well, I was going to go for 2-0 as well. So just to be different, then
there you go.
Just to be positive and end on a positive note, I'll say 3-0 Everton. Then I don't know where that came from. Just to be different and try and give some positivity for those Beleaguered Blues after what we've seen these past 7 days. So let's hope so. Let's end it on a positive note, and let's hope that Ian Kroll returns intact from Benidorm. Apparently, he's going to be.
Yeah, he may still have a sore head, mightn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much he'll be taking in, but he tells me he's going to be back. He's going to be back in time for the game. So hopefully he's back in time for the next edition of the Royal Blue podcast.
He may be back, but whether he's back in spirit and understanding what reality is, there's two different things.
Yeah. Will he be that same Ian Kroll that we all know and love? Yeah. Okay. All right. I've been your host, Chris Beesley. Been joined by Gavin Buckland. This has been the Royal Blue Podcast.